There are moments in life when truth demands our attention, moments when the heart feels something, but the mind is left searching for answers. Too many young men today walk through relationships blind, unsure of what's real and what's a fast aid. You sense changes, you notice shifts, but you doubt yourself because you've been taught to silence your instincts. Brothers, let me remind you, your intuition is a compass when it rarely lies. When a woman has just shared herself with someone else, it's not always about the physical. It's about the shift in her energy, her presence, her soul. Her body can return home, but her spirit may still linger in another space. This is not about suspicion. This is not about judgment. This is about awareness, because a man who ignores the truth suffers twice. First in betrayal, and second in self-betrayal for refusing to see what was right before his eyes. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 subtle, often overlooked signs that reveal when a woman has just been intimate. These are not tricks, not games, but real human signals that speak louder than words. Pay attention, because this knowledge is not meant to fuel anger, but to give you clarity, peace, and the power to choose how you will stand as a man. There's a kind of silence that speaks louder than words. A silence you can feel in the pit of your stomach. It's not the comforting silence of two people sitting together in peace. It's the heavy silence that carries distance, like she's sitting next to you, but her heart is miles away. When a woman has just shared intimacy with someone else, the first and most telling sign isn't always found in her words. It's in the space between them. You'll notice pauses that didn't exist before. You'll notice conversations that once flowed effortlessly now feel strained, like pulling teeth. She's there physically, but her spirit, her warmth, her openness feels locked behind an invisible wall. This distance isn't always intentional. Sometimes it's born out of confusion, guilt, or the simple fact that she hasn't yet reconciled her actions with her emotions. Women are emotional creatures. Intimacy for them isn't just a physical act. It stirs the heart, it rearranges energy, it leaves an imprint on their mood, their body, their spirit. And so, after that moment, her silence tells you that she is processing. But what she's processing may not have anything to do with you. You may sit beside her, ask about her day, try to joke, try to pull her in with warmth. But what you're really up against isn't her distraction. It's the residue of where she's been. And here's the hard truth, brothers, you can't fake closeness. If her spirit has been shared elsewhere, she cannot fully give it to you in that moment. Now, this isn't a sign for you to attack her, accuse her, or become paranoid. No, this is a sign for you to observe with wisdom. A man who sees without reacting is powerful. If she is silent, if she is distant, let her silence speak. Don't chase it with desperate questions. Don't smother it with false reassurance. Simply watch, because her distance is revealing what her words will try to conceal. And sometimes silence doesn't just mean she's tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. Sometimes silence means her spirit has been awakened somewhere else. And as a man, you must be strong enough to hear that unspoken truth. Even when her lips say nothing at all, energy is something you can feel before you ever hear a word. It's the subtle pull in a room, the tension in her movements, the way her presence can either draw you in or push you away. And brothers, after a woman has just been intimate with someone else, her energy carries traces of that encounter. Sometimes heavy, sometimes light, but always noticeable if you pay attention. This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. You might notice that she laughs differently, or that her touch feels hesitant. Her eyes might dart away when you reach for connection, as though a part of her is still lingering in a space she can't fully return from. That's the energy shift. It's the ripple effect of intimacy. An invisible mark that lingers in the way she breathes, in the way she moves, in the way she interacts with you. And here's the thing, men often overlook this. We get caught in the words she says, the smiles she gives, the promises she makes. But energy doesn't lie. While words can be rehearsed, energy can't be faked. A woman's energy after intimacy tells the truth of what her heart is carrying, whether she realizes it or not. You might sense a subtle coldness or a kind of emotional distance that wasn't there before. She might appear distracted or lost in thought, her mind replaying moments you were never part of. Sometimes it manifests as impatience, irritability, or sudden overcompensation. She might laugh too loudly, compliment you excessively, or seek to fill a void she herself feels. This is where a man's awareness is tested. You can't control her energy, but you can read it. You can observe without reacting, listen without accusing, and most importantly, protect your own emotional center. The energy shift is not always a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of where she has been and what she's carrying. A high-value man notices. He feels the pull before it becomes obvious. He senses the quiet hesitation behind her smile, the tension in her touch, and the lingering presence of someone else in her spirit. And instead of forcing closeness or trying to fill the emptiness, he holds space for her truth, for his own, and for the reality that energy cannot lie. Because once you understand this, you see clearly. You see the difference between presence and absence, between intimacy shared and intimacy withheld. And that clarity, that's power. Guilt is a quiet thing. It doesn't shout. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks or dramatic gestures. Instead, it lingers in the small spaces, in the hesitation of her words, the nervous laugh that comes too quickly, the way her eyes flicker away when she thinks you're not watching. After intimacy, a woman often carries a residue of emotional complexity, and guilt is one of the most common, most telling signs. This subtle guilt doesn't always mean she's a bad person. It doesn't mean she's trying to hurt you intentionally. It simply means she's human. Every connection leaves a mark, every choice leaves a trace, and sometimes that trace shows up as quiet tension. You might notice it in her tone, the way she softens her speech, over-explains herself, or suddenly apologizes for things that never needed an apology. You might notice it in her body language, fidgeting, looking down, or avoiding prolonged eye contact. Brothers, here's the truth: guilt has a way of breaking through the mask of normalcy. It can manifest as irritability or impatience, small arguments that flare out of nowhere, or even sudden bursts of affection that feel almost performative. She may shower you with attention or compliments, trying to balance the scales of her conscience. But it's not always about manipulation. Sometimes it's about her wrestling with her own internal conflict. Your role as a man is not to punish or confront immediately. Your role is to observe, understand, and protect your own emotional center. Subtle guilt is like a shadow. It tells a story if you're willing to read it. And reading it doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware, grounded, and prepared to handle reality without illusion. Notice the little things, the hesitations, the fleeting discomfort, the way she sometimes seems to pull back emotionally, even while physically present. These are the breadcrumbs that reveal where her heart and mind have been. A high-value man doesn't ignore these signs. He doesn't dismiss them as quirks or mood swings. He sees them clearly, understands the human complexity behind them, and responds with wisdom rather than reaction. Because guilt, when observed, becomes clarity. And clarity gives you the power to make decisions with your eyes wide open, to know when to invest, when to hold back, and when to simply walk away without regret. There's a truth that often goes unnoticed by men. Intimacy leaves a visible trace. It's not something that can always be hidden, because the human body responds to connection in ways science can measure and instinct can feel. After intimacy, a woman's body carries a subtle energy, a glow that radiates from the inside out, a physical shift that hints at where her spirit has just been. This isn't about judging or objectifying her. It's about observation, awareness, and understanding the natural consequences of closeness. After being intimate, hormones shift. Dopamine, oxytocin, and other chemical reactions ripple through her system. It can show in her skin, a warmth, a softness, a shimmer in her eyes. It can show in her posture, a relaxed confidence, a new ease, or sometimes a restlessness, as if her body is still processing. A man who is in tune with people notices these small, yet telling signs. He might see a subtle change in the way she carries herself, the way she moves through space, or the way her energy touches the room. This physical glow is rarely loud or obvious. It's gentle. It's fleeting. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it entirely. But here's the deeper lesson: this glow is more than just biology. It's a reflection of emotional and spiritual imprint. Intimacy changes her energy, and that change can linger. Sometimes it manifests as confidence, warmth, or affection directed toward you. Sometimes it's a quieter trace, a softness tinged with distraction, a brightness that isn't fully present. And here's the part men often overlook: noticing these signs is not about suspicion or distrust. It's about being aware of human truth. It's about reading the signals that exist naturally so you can act with clarity rather than confusion. High-value men understand that the body and spirit are connected. They see what's hidden between words. They feel what's unsaid. So, when you notice that subtle glow, pay attention. Observe it without judgment. Understand it as a reflection of reality, not a reflection of your worth. Because recognizing the physical trace of intimacy allows you to see her truth, to read the room, and to maintain your own emotional integrity. In awareness lies power, and in observation lies wisdom. After intimacy, some women unconsciously try to balance the scales of their emotions. They might shower you with attention, offer excessive compliments, or act overly affectionate, almost as if they're trying to erase something that lingers in the corners of their mind. This is what I call sudden overcompensation, and it's one of the most subtle, yet telling signs that something has shifted emotionally. Brothers, this isn't about manipulation in every case. Sometimes it's born of guilt. Sometimes it's born of confusion. Sometimes it's simply the human need to reassure both themselves and you that everything is okay. But overcompensation often reveals more than she intends to show. It exposes the tension between what she's feeling and what she wants you to perceive. You might notice she goes out of her way to please you, to seem perfect, or to respond with exaggerated warmth to small gestures. She might laugh a little too loudly at your jokes, text a little too frequently, or act more caring than usual, almost as if she's trying to prove something. It's subtle, but the pattern is there. The highs feel heightened, the sweetness feels intensified, and yet, somewhere beneath the surface, there's a weight she's carrying that doesn't match her outward display. Here's the key for men. Do not confuse overcompensation with genuine connection. High-value men see beyond the surface. They notice that excessive attention or sudden bursts of affection can be a signal, a clue that her heart or energy might be elsewhere. Overcompensation is often a mask, a shield that conceals what her spirit is processing internally. The wise man observes without judgment. He does not chase. He does not overreact. He notes the pattern and trusts his instincts. He sees the contrast between behavior and energy and knows that actions alone rarely tell the full story. Understanding overcompensation empowers you. It gives you clarity about her state of mind and her emotional alignment. It allows you to protect your own heart while still being compassionate. Because at the end of the day, high-value men understand human complexity. People are flawed, energy is layered, and subtle signs, like overcompensation, are messages meant to be read, not misinterpreted. When you see it, pay attention. Observe quietly. Let it inform your choices. And remember, awareness is power, patience is wisdom, and clarity keeps your heart safe in a world full of mixed signals. There's a quiet voice inside every man, a subtle, often overlooked instinct that speaks before your mind has time to analyze, rationalize, or doubt. Some call it intuition. Some call it gut feeling. I call it your inner compass, and when it whispers, it is rarely wrong. After a woman has been intimate with someone else, all the signs we've discussed, the silent distance, the energy shift, the subtle guilt, the physical glow, and the overcompensation, they all lead back to this: your instinct knows the truth first. Too many men ignore it, thinking they're being paranoid, insecure, or overreacting. But the instinct is not fear, it's awareness. It's your soul sending signals that something in her energy, her presence, or her words is off. Listen closely, because this instinct is subtle. It doesn't scream, it nudges. It might be a tightening in your chest, a flicker of doubt in your mind, or a lingering unease you can't quite explain. That's your inner radar detecting what your eyes may miss and what your mind may try to rationalize away. And the men who succeed in relationships, who protect their hearts and cultivate meaningful connections, are the men who trust this voice. Trusting your instinct doesn't mean rushing to conclusions. It doesn't mean confronting or accusing. It means observing, evaluating, and acting with awareness. It means understanding that your emotional and spiritual well-being comes first. If something feels off, it usually is. If your gut whispers, pause, or step back, listen. It's telling you something that words cannot. High-value men understand that instinct is a tool, not a weapon. It's a guide that helps them navigate human complexity with clarity and integrity. When you feel the subtle pull of your intuition, honor it. Examine the signs you've seen, the behaviors you've noticed, and the energy you've sensed. Then decide how to move forward with honesty, self-respect, and emotional strength. Remember, brothers' instincts are not weaknesses. They are your superpower. They allow you to read between the lines of human behavior, to see what is often hidden, and to act before confusion or deception can take root. Your inner voice is there to protect you, to guide you, and to keep your heart aligned with reality. Learn to listen, trust it, and honor it, because clarity, courage, and wisdom all begin within.